What's up, guys? I wanted to show you guys the stick concept. It's uh, um, it's a very common play in the air raid, and we run it quite often at Clemson. We run a lot of variations of it, and in fact, we ran it 8 times in the spring game. So I'm going to start with teaching you the front side concept, the stick, the routes, kind of what we're looking for when we call this, et cetera, et cetera. So the when we call stick, the main route we want to throw is the stick route, and that's the Y here. So his aiming point is about 4 yards down the field. He's going to slam on the brakes and catch the ball in knife up field and try to turn a 4 yard route into a 9 to 10 yard completion. So we want to call this play to attack a defense that's trying to take away the deep part of the field. So quarters look, any kind of pattern matching thing. And the reason is because we know they're short underneath. So if we have a typical quarters coverage, we know corners, he's got to get out of there. Free safety's got a quarter. Strong safety's got a quarter. He should be over here somewhere. And the corner's got a quarter. So that leaves them with limited amounts of people to play underneath. So some kind of a nickel Sam, like here, he's got to play both the curl and the flat, okay, which leaves only an inside linebacker, like in this case the Mike, to get out and get the stick. So if the quarterback sees that grass and he gets the ball out quickly, the ball is going to beat the linebacker there every single time, okay? So that's tough for them. The H is going to run an arrow, and so I usually teach one step and then get flat down the line of scrimmage as quickly as possible. We want to make sure that the nickel Sam can't play games and try to slow play it to break on the stick. So if we're really fast on this arrow route, he's got to get out of there immediately, and that makes the stick better. If for some reason he cheats in here and decides to play the stick, the quarterback can reset and throw this arrow. The Z is running a mandatory outside release fade, and his job really is to get the corner out of there, okay? So we tell him he has to release outside because we need the corners back to turn towards the quarterback so he can't see this arrow route if it's being thrown. If he can see that arrow coming, there's a chance that he could pass off the vertical to a safety and trap it, which could cause a pick six. So the Z must release outside here. Now, some things that could give your typical stick problems, first and foremost, is man coverage. Okay, so if the corner's man on the Z, the nickel Sam's man on the H, and we take this free safety down into the box and we put him man on the Y, that's a problem. Okay, our only real option front side is to throw this vertical to the Z. And I don't really like my odds there. I got 50-50 of it being completed, but well, probably not 50-50, honestly. That's a long throw, okay? That is a long throw. So that's a huge problem for stick. And Clemson gets a lot of man in the spring game, so I'll show you the answer to that. Another potential problem is any kind of zone coverage where they're able to push an extra defender to the trip side. For example, if they can leave this corner down in the flat, okay, and they can play this free safety Y, that means the Sam can actually play the stick, and we have the Y, or I'm sorry, the arrow route covered by the corner. The safety should easily be able to get over the top of the Z. Okay. Now, the only way they could do that is if this backside safety is keying number 3, which forces them to play man coverage back here, okay? So that brings us to the solution to those issues, and that's the backside of our concept, which is two-man snag. So in the two-man snag, okay, the running back is running what I call a rail route. So he's hauling butt, trying to get outside the numbers, and this ball it's not a wheel. The ball actually should be hitting him almost as soon as he gets to the numbers, okay? Now, in man, this will linebacker is going to be matched up on a back. So to me, depending on who the back is, that's a good matchup most of the time, okay? Our X is running what I call a snag route. So if it's zone, he's going to run his slant steps, but he's going to find a window to sit down. So typically, if that will drops out of here, the second the will crosses his face, he's going to sit down in this grass. If it's man coverage, the will is flying out of there, but the corner is going to be chasing him. He's going to run a slant. Okay, Clemson hits the X a couple of times on the slant for nice plays, and they actually hit the rail route for a touchdown. I believe it was Strecco who caught it. Okay, now there's a lot of variations of stick, and Clemson does run a few of them in the spring game. The most common one you'll see is stick draw. Okay, now they did not run stick draw, or at least this variation of stick draw in the spring game. But what they would be reading is that the mic on the snap flies out of the box. We now have 5-on-5. They'll run quarterback draw, or they'll run F draw to the back. Okay, we like our numbers match up. If he stays in the box or is slow, the quarterback's going to throw the stick immediately. We ran that a few times in the Florida State game. Okay, now there's another variation, the RPO, that we do run, and we run this out of 2x2, but we're blocking inside zone and reading to see what the hole players do. If they fly into the box, Cade was going to pull and throw the stick. In that case, we got man coverage, so something different happened. I'll talk you through that. You can also run switch, where the Y is going to run the arrow and the H is going to run the stick. And you do that based on leverage, but we actually did it in the spring game because it was man coverage and we were trying to create a rub. So I will show you that as well. Okay. So let's get to it. The first one I'm going to show is actually towards the end of the first half, because this is the most basic look of stick that you can see. So your Y right here be running the stick, and to me, this is open right now. So if I'm Vizina, I'm just taking a one-step drop, what I call a pop, and I should be throwing this ball before he even gets to 4 yards. Vizina is still young. He's learning. He doesn't see it, and so he takes too deep of a drop. So I'm going to pause it. If this ball is coming out right now, we're getting 5 yards, plus he should be able to get some yards after the catch. Okay, but Vizina is late, so he's forced to go to the arrow route. That's a really hard throw. We want to, I'd much rather throw the stick if possible, and we only get a yard. Okay, going back to the beginning. All right, so this one is an RPO. We are actually blocking inside zone, and I call this zone lock, because normally on inside zone we'd be reading this defensive end right here. However, we're telling the tackle to block him. He's big on big, and the quarterback's going to push his read out one. So he's, typically speaking, he would be reading this overhang here, but Cade notices that we have man coverage. So he decides pre-snap that he is going to throw this vertical. Okay, I don't mind the decision. If you notice, the safety's all the way over here. He's only 9 yards deep. There's really not much of a chance he's going to get over the top of it. So Cade meshes it up, pops, and he winds up throwing back shoulder. Now, that's a great ball. Okay, I'm going to run it back. And play at full speed this time. This is a great ball, and I don't mind the decision at all. He notices the corner, wins over the top, so he has to go back shoulder, and that's one we got to complete. That's a really good job by Cade. Okay. All right. So this one, again, it's man coverage, and the stick is dead. So I'm going to get a little closer. All right. Now you can see it. He's man on man, man on man, man on man. It looks like he's off, but that's going to be really tough to throw the stick in. So I think this is Vizina here. He makes the right decision to go backside, but we whiff right here. Okay, so he actually has no chance. This is a protection bust. Got our right tackle's about to fall down, but notice that the slant is coming open in this window. If we get one more second, we have a completion here. So full speed this time. Interesting note here if you watch this little game. So we actually roll up number 24. I think this Wood as. And it looks like he's going to come. But when he sees the back run the rail, he actually peels on the back. All right, 6:58. Now, this is one where we get man coverage and it works out. All right, it's kind of hard to see it down here, but we have man coverage. The stick's covered. The arrow's covered. But we got a good situation right here, right? So man on man, one of these backers is going to have to play man on the back. So he peels, he's blitzing. We have a huge window to throw the slant. First down, move the sticks. I'm going to play it for you again, full speed. So basically, if they're going to send extra guys, which when they're playing man, that's typically why they're playing man, somebody still has to be responsible for the back. So in this case, they want to send both, but when he realizes his back's getting out, somebody's got to cover him, so he peels. That's why they do that. All right, here's another one. Let's see. 1049. All right, so in this one, the defense is trying to disguise their coverage. They're trying to make it look like zone, but they actually have a field cap blitz on. So first thing we notice is, I think this is Wade Wood as here, but you notice how the safety is kind of lined up right over him. They're trying to show some kind of cover six or quarters look, but it's man, and they're sending Wood as. So great job. This is a great job by Pearman to notice this, and he gets to the rail and snag really quickly. Okay, so Pearman's veteran. He's been running the air raid forever. He ran it in high school, almost this exact variation. His offensive coordinator in high school is very good. So this doesn't fool him at all. So great job there by him. All right, this one is not so good. I think there's a bust here, but we'll never really know. So they actually changed the backside of this concept here. So instead of running the two-man snag with the snag route and the rail, they run a fade with the Z down here. All right, and now we have man coverage, right? So he's man on, he's man on, he's man on. We don't have a great option here. We can't really throw this fade. We got a safety kind of cheat over the top here. And I don't like throwing the fade to the field. I just feel like it's a long, very difficult throw. I just don't like our odds, right? So it doesn't really make sense to me, but the quarterback has to make a tough decision here, and he decides to take the fade to the field. And you just got to throw that a long way. It usually doesn't work out very well. I would have checked out of that if it was me. Okay. Now I want to show you guys the touchdown. And this is the only time in the spring game we actually threw the rail, but it works out really well. So it should be 20. Come on. Here we go. All right, same deal. We're actually in 11 personnel here, but it's still man coverage. So we have our H back here. He's man on. We're man on. We're man on. So the stick's not good. So the quarterback goes to the rail route. Notice the linebacker gets lost in the trash. We get it to Strecco, touchdown. And we got a tight end down here. He's just running a variation of the snag here. But watch, linebacker there, lost. One more time. All right. Very good job. Did I already show this one? Might have already shown this one. Sorry for the delay. All right, so I had not shown this one. So in this one, the defense is an all-out cover zero. So I was talking about how much they came after the quarterback, which sucks in a spring game, but they're actually sending 7 here. Okay, notice they got the 2 inside backers walked up, and they have an outside backer as well. So because of that, they only have 4 in coverage. And, of course, 1 will peel if the back releases. So we actually have a chance to not throw the stick, but to throw the arrow here. And Cade sees it. He knows what's going on. So pre-snap, he actually decides to throw the arrow. Notice all of this grass down here. Okay. Now he's got to move in the pocket a little bit because the time he knows there's not enough blockers, and he gets it Antonio Williams for a nice gain. Very good job. Okay. Very smart by Cade as well to make a subtle move. Simply put, 5 can't block 7, and he knows that. But he knows where the pressure is coming from. He understands the protection scheme. The offensive line is going to make a slide here, and we're going to turn these guys loose. Okay? So Cade just shifts away from them. And one of them peels with the back anyway. Okay? Great job. And our last one is a variation we call switch, which I mentioned earlier. So that'd be 2602. No, I'm sorry, 2430. All right, so this is actually a 2-point play. Again, man coverage, right? Man on man, man on man, man on man. We decide this time to run the switch to try to create a rub. So the H is going to run the stick, and he's going to wind up here. And what we're hoping is this guy's going to lock onto him, and so we're going to get 2 for 1 here. So if this safety here or linebacker here gets bumped into the safety, he's man on, so if he runs with the fade, it should clear out the arrow. It's actually what we're trying to create is something kind of similar to Hunter Renfro's touchdown in the 2016 National Championship game. But Jamal Anderson makes a heck of a play here. So notice the pick. Anderson sees what's going on. So the rub doesn't really work. He gets around it and makes a great play. Didn't really work out like the national championship game at all. And people make the mistake of thinking that this is a pick. No, okay? The defenders wind up running into each other. You know, it's he's just running his route. The defender gets hands on. And if he was playing too shallow here and trying to run with his man, they would just simply run into each other. There's nothing illegal about that. Okay? But great job by Anderson. I like the idea, but sometimes a really good defensive play beats a really good offensive play. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, feel free to